I had no idea going in what this film was going to be all about. I just knew that it was going to be the biggest thing to come down the line in the last 20 years, and I better get my arse down there to see it. That's all. I'm talking about James Cameron's epic new film Avatar. Came out a while back, and before I start in, those of you who already know me in real life know that I have a very difficult time with paying attention to things, and that's the reason why, as a general rule, I tend to stay away from movies that run more than about an hour 40 or an hour 45. That's really kind of my upper limit. Well, this thing clocks in at just barely under 3 hours, and I'm here to tell you that I was spellbound by it the whole entire time. I could not stop watching this film. It is just that good. And like so many other groundbreaking films before it, it really does raise the bar on so many levels. The way he did the scenery, the special effects, the imagery, the whole thing. Like many of you, I saw it in 3D the first time. And it was so real. It was like I was right there on that planet as all these things were happening around me. And then there's the way he did the creatures. And, oh yeah, hotness of Pandorians in question. Anybody out there other than me happen to notice just how hot he really made these creatures? Especially that girl, the main one that would go on to become Jake's wife. I knew the second that she showed up on the screen that she was going to be a situation. And she really was. And she played a key role in helping Jake to figure out who he was. And that brings me to the wonderful message about this film. There's really sort of two overarching messages. I count them both as one, though, because they sort of go together. The first one is played out all through the film in the connectedness that the Na'vi have not only to each other, but to all the other life forms on the planet. Their animals, their plants, and it certainly is played out in the scene where they bring Sigourney Weaver's character and lay her down at the Tree of Life as it wraps its roots around her as the entire village shows up in support to try to bring a healing to her after she'd been wounded in battle. I think the message for all of that, for all of us, is simply that we are all connected to one another into this earth, which I think is a very timely and appropriate message for these times. It's a message that our whole country can get behind. As a matter of fact, you want to know something? I think it even makes you a better American when you take a step back every once in a while and realize how deeply connected we all really are to one another on this planet, and how much this whole world is in need of a real healing of its own. A healing that we are uniquely positioned to bring to it right now. And how do we bring this healing about? Well, that ties into my second message. It's a message that I feel beaming to me from lots of other different sources, and it's also the same message that I feel coming from deep within me as I want to tell it to everybody I get a chance to. And that message is simply shut up and just be the person that you already are, which is so ridiculously simple to say, yet can be so difficult to actually do. I guess because it means something different to everybody who hears it. For Jake, he was sent out to live among the Na'vi, to learn their ways and to gather information, which would then be turned to the advantage of the Marines. But as the film goes forward, he starts to realize that he's much more comfortable with them than even with his own people. And about midway through the film, he realizes that for him to be true to himself means becoming one of them. And he struggles with that on a very deep level, as it does split his loyalties two different ways. In the end of the film, some would say that for him to be the person that he really was cost him everything. I would just suggest to you, look at everything he got in return, though. And I think the real message in that is, whatever shut up and be the person you already are, whatever that means to you, the second that you start to do that, I think you'll find that they really do see you, just like it talks about in the film and just like it talks about in this song. Oh sure, not everybody will, but a lot of people will, and the ones who really matter will. And they will see you, and they'll get you, and they'll get your unique message that you have to offer the world. And they'll stand with you in support of you and in support of your message. It'll be a great thing. Or, I don't know, maybe I'm just pounding sand for all of this. I don't know. But I don't think I am. I mean, I think I'm pretty right on point with all of this. So, on a much lighter note, I think it's very peculiar also how certain anti-smoking groups are coming out against this film simply because of the fact that Sigourney Weaver puffs away like a freaking chimney through the whole thing. I mean, I'm not a real big fan of that sort of thing, but seriously, don't these people have anything better to do? I mean, really? And this we get from the same crowd who also wants to turn around and legalize marijuana all across the country. Again, not a real big fan of either one of those things, but I do like clear-cut lines of thought. So, just to make sure I get this straight, Tobacco, evil, bad, and should be outlawed. But pot, healthy, good, upright, upstanding, and let's legalize it across the country. Okay, lovely. Just want to make sure I understand the rationale that's in play. Okay, I know I have just barely touched the tip of the iceberg here. There's so much more about this film that can be discussed, and maybe this is where somebody else comes in behind me and picks up where I left off, and maybe that's kind of the whole point of it anyway, is that it's not just about any one person. So thanks to all of you for watching this. It's been a real pleasure, and I'll be back soon to talk about some other things, but till then, here's hoping for all of you that the next time you find yourself in a foreign village on a mission that you never asked for, well, here's hoping at least you might get the chance to meet up with some really hot Pandorians along the way. Steve out.